that. I think I went live now. I love how I've got a nice close-up face of your amazing, luscious face there, Nick.
All right, I'm in.
Alrighty, Nick, how are you doing today? Let's just warm up the stream.
I'm doing okay. It was an interesting day. I woke up pretty late, um, and then I just came downstairs. I had to shovel the driveway. I just did some stuff around the house.
Yeah, I heard you had a pretty huge storm the other day. Sounds like a jolly old time.
Yeah.
And you know what you can't do during a storm, Nick? You can't play sports. But you know what you can do?
I mean, you could play soccer
Play esports.
or hockey, I guess. Hockey's inside.
You don't know what you're talking about, Nick.
You could play tennis. I don't think that people do, but you could.
Yeah,
And you could swim if you're not a pussy.
I guess. Alrighty. Well, welcome everybody to our podcast about esports, the world of competitive video gaming. I am your host, Night Brisk, and we'll be diving into the exciting and rapidly growing world of esports, exploring the history, impact, and trends. I am joined by my lovely co-host, Nick, and I hope you guys are ready
I'm
for the
Nick.
ride. So, quickly, let's start off. So, esports in general, right? It's generally coined the term electronic sports. We just put an E on it because we always do in the gaming industry, right? But essentially, it refers to the video gaming where players compete against each other in organized tournaments, often in general, nowadays, with larger prize pools. Now, over the years, it really has grown from a niche hobby to a global phenomenon, with millions of fans tuning in to watch their favorite games and players compete, just like your regular World Cups for our normal sports like soccer, basketball, right? And I want to the key emphasis here is that it started really right with the niche hobby. I mean, there wasn't ever at the dawn of video games the existence or even the idea that this was going to be a competitive scene, right? I mean, whenever the closest thing, right, to esports or something competitive in video gaming when they launched leaderboards to arcade games. I remember going to those arcades and then seeing probably the same person take the top 10 spots because they would play the game literally the whole day and they would hog it and have the little belt of coins around them and they just go ham, bro. And I remember that looking at them and I'm like, dude, that guy, that guy probably has so many girls because of all those leaderboard. Like as a kid, I was like, that guy, I want to be like that guy.
Dude, that guy fucks.
Exactly. So I mean, as a little kid, you're looking at this dude go crazy against and Galaga at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, dude. He's going crazy. You're like, man, this guy probably goes home and he has like the hottest girlfriend, whatever, you know. But obviously, that probably wasn't the case. But nonetheless, we are here, right? And um, but yeah, that to me at least, it was the earliest version that I can remember thinking of when it came to sports or esports or anything related to that. I don't know about you, Nick. How were you ever introduced really early on to esports, or how did you first know about it?
Well, I kind of just heard about it from just like it would just be brought up in conversation, especially with people who would play video games. Like I heard friends who would go and play in like a Smash tournament or um I don't know, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. And,
But
and I think very similar. here, and this will kind of segue into the brief history of Stanford. But in reality, right, how I heard of esports is there's these kids or a club in school, and they'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna have a Call of Duty tournament or a Smash Bros tournament," and you had to pay like $5 to get in. You had a prize pool of whatever, how much you can add up, whatever. And that to me was the only way, at least, or the most tangible way for you to just have a taste of what it feels like to compete against other people. Besides, hopping on multiplayer and playing with random people and having fun, right? But it would always be those flyers at school where it's like, oh, esports tournament here, here. I remember very vividly when I did soccer and I would travel to different high schools, and when we around the hallways, I would see a random post like that where it said Call of Duty tournament, and it was just pay like $20, and it was like a 20-person tournament, however many they showed up, and that's how they ran him. But as I was saying earlier, kind of to segue into this, into the first ever recognized esport tournaments, it really was a niche hobby, right? People didn't really think that it was going to be a big deal. It was, to them, it was just fun, right? Like anything else, just being competitive, right? You want to be able to demonstrate that you are better than somebody else at something. That's really how it all started.
Yeah, it started more as a like, I bet you $20 I could beat you in this game, and it just sort of expanded.
Very, very much
from
so.
there.
Yep, I totally agree. And so going into here, so the first ever recognized esports tournament took place in 1972, not surely after, it was about 10 to 12 years after the first video games ever really launched.
Was that like a DK thing? What was the
DK.
game?
Oh, so oh yeah, the game was called Space Wars. That's what it was called. And the event at the time was coined Intergalactic Space War Olympics. Essentially, what it was a tournament that had 24 contestants, right? And they all came together, and on the very picture on the far right shows you kind of the display of how it looked like. But it was a very, very simple game where you had to play with two people, right? One person, it's essentially just a dogfighting game. One person controlled one ship, another person controlled another ship, and all you did was you can move your ship to the right, left, forward, backwards, accelerate, decelerate, and use the teleport feature that it's what they called. It was time travel, or I think it was warp speed. It just teleported you randomly on to the field, whatever. It just teleported you. But what was interesting actually is if you were to play this at an arcade, how it worked is you had the coins that you put, the quarters would essentially extend the time that you had. So in theory, right, $10 in quarters would give the player 1 hour of uninterrupted gameplay. So if you showed up at the arcade with those huge stacks of coins and just put in $10 worth of coins, you could play that game with another person for 1 hour straight. And it didn't. I don't think there really was a cap. It was just however much money you put into it is however much time you had to play the game. So, nonetheless, 24 contestants at the University of Stanford. Again, kind of segueing to how we know it now. It was still very localized to these universities, to colleges, to schools, right? That's where they had the technology, and that's where people got together and played. But Nick, I want you to really think hard and guess what the prize pool was for the winner of this tournament. I want you to make your best educated guess, your most accurate assumption as to what the first place winner got.
Okay.
This is 1972.
I'm gonna think out loud. So based on the price of the arcade machine thing that you were just saying, it's at a university. It's gonna be a bunch of kids who like to play video games and have fun, and it's the first thing ever.
Right.
Like, so no one's ever heard of something like this. So everybody's like, "Oh, this is really cool." Now, all of that being said, I still don't have any idea. I don't know, like $50.
I'll spare you the misery, Nick. So the winning prize pool, or the winner, took it all, and what they got as a reward for beating these 24 contestants is a whopping free 1 year subscription to the Rolling Stones magazine, Nick. That is what the first place winner got. Free subscription to the Rolling Stones. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Think about it. I mean, the possibilities are endless after that. You got a full year subscription. Come on, you're a stud after that. I mean, you're literally the most wanted person at the campus right now. Imagine walking around with your Rolling Stones magazine, like, bro, that guy's so cool. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But in any event, right? We have made several bounds and leaps since then, right? We are no longer peasants. We are no longer the speck of dust in a whole desk, right? We are now a big player in the entertainment scene, and we'll segue right into what we know now as esports, right? I mean, you have very much some of the biggest names now, and including, for example, League of Legends, Dota 2, Counter Strike, Overwatch, Fortnite, even then, right, those leading to some of the biggest prize pools in esports history to this day, right? And every single year, they keep getting bigger and bigger, sometimes even bigger than some professional sports, right? Which is kind of crazy to think about. As we started really with nothing, a fucking Rolling Stones magazine, and now we're into these crazy prize pools of millions of dollars, right? Like the Fortnite World Cups, Dotas, etc. And we'll touch on this in a little bit, but I mean, it is a huge night and day difference in my opinion, right? It's something totally different and something that in reality, right, is we've never seen that before, which is awesome. But what catalyzed that? What made that into what it is now, Nick? What do you think it was, Nick? What do you think the main pivot, right, from 1972 to now that was able to just launch esports to the popularity that it is at the moment?
Better prizes.
True, better prizes.
Um,
Where do you think those came from, though?
sponsors.
Correct. Sponsors from? What are sponsors like, Nick? Think television. What are sponsors like? If somebody's going to sponsor a YouTuber, why do they pick a specific YouTuber rather than the other?
Kid friendly.
True, that is one aspect of it.
Um,
But what is the main thing? Main thing that people want? If I was going to sell my
they
product,
get views. They get.
yeah, that's right. We're looking for views, just like television. The more views you got, the more sponsors, the bigger the prize pool. Which brings us to the very next topic. And it's the game changer, the age of Twitch, the age of live streaming, right? That is where it all changed. I mean, the advent of streaming platforms like Twitch in the mid 2000s, right, really transformed the esports industry and made it really easier than ever for fans to watch their favorite players, teams, and basically anything, right? It better than everything else, it was free. You didn't have to pay a subscription to a TV channel gallery or whatever. You don't have to pay for YouTube TV. You don't have to pay for Comcast, Xfinity, or whatever. You literally just made an account, looked at the esports industry or the esports channel, and you were watching it live with everybody else, right? And it's very different because, right, they try to make it as similar as possible to having a bunch of friends over and watching your Sunday night football. Because you're not just watching the stream, right? You're watching everybody else react to the stream too. You have the chat, you have emotes, you have interactions between the stream and the chat, right? It's not just a one-way street from sports where it's just this you're streaming the sport to the user. Now there's this back and forth communication between the person watching and the people streaming it, right? Which I think that really changed the way that people enjoyed watching esports, because now it just felt that you're not watching it alone and that you're not reacting to it alone, and that if you're having cool reactions like "Oh, yeah, baby," you're not alone. People are gonna do that with you. So in reality, I mean, leading to what it is today, the platform right now has over 9 million active streamers, right? And about 140 million monthly views. For a sponsor, I mean, that's money. That is like, okay, I'm going to make money and I'm going to get people to view my product if I sponsor them, which is nuts. The earliest things, right? This was even before esports, is really on YouTube, right? When Machinima was like the earliest, biggest, most, at the time, crappiest sponsor for people that played video games, but it was the first ever source of income that any channel could really get. I don't know if you remember that, Nick, but I remember definitely the whole Machinima respawn thing, and I mean back when not Machinima respawn, but it's just Machinima at the time. It was crazy because essentially you just got into a contract with these guys. It was like a 2 year shitty contract. Like you lost so much money, you basically got nothing, and all it was is that your videos were put on their channel for a couple weeks or whatever. And if people liked your stuff, they would subscribe, and then you would get more views on your own channel. But I mean, you see how that worked. Years of bad contracts and years of taking advantage of 12-year-old, 16-year-old kids that were like, ooh, money. Didn't really work out. But man, I mean, I don't know. I love Twitch. I think Twitch lately hasn't really had the best reputation, but I think that Twitch really did a good thing with its chat. I think Twitch chat, I don't think will ever be topped by any other chat. Even YouTube is really trying their hardest, but I don't think that it'll change the main sport. I'm pretty sure that I mean, you can still stream both events on YouTube and on Twitch, but normally now it's all Twitch, 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 right? Have you?
Yep.
I don't know. Have you had a chance to watch any esports related events?
Not particularly. Um, I've seen clips and stuff when something big happens and it gets spread everywhere.
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty exciting thing, and especially if it's a video game that you're really passionate about. And like I said, increased fan base means more eyeballs watching, means more people wanting to sponsor those streams, leading and opening doors to bigger prize pools. We're gonna take, for example, really quickly here, hold on, the Fortnite tournament or the Fortnite Worlds, right? Did I do it here? Yeah, right here. The Fortnite World Cup, which hold on, let's track back really fast. I kind of skipped the topic here really quickly, but essentially, right, what makes esports so exciting to watch? Right? I don't know. What do you think people watch esports just like any other sport? Nick?
Well, I mean, it's fun to see someone who's really good at what they do their thing. It doesn't matter if they're playing a game, if they're doing any, like, singing or dancing, whatever. Like, seeing anybody who's really good at doing pretty much anything, it's people want to witness it and be a part of it.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, for me, right, it's video games also, right? Are I mean, it's very action packed, very fast paced and intense. Also, again, depending on the video game that you're trying to watch. But really, I mean, the players are making these split second decisions that literally can mean the difference between winning and losing the game. And trying to find those little discrepancies on a really fast paced game, right? It's entertaining because you're never waiting. You're never like, oh, I wish this would happen. And I feel like other games have that aspect to it. Like for example, a more of the League of Legends, where I mean it has slow starts, right? And it can well, you're really trying to get to the team fights and all that. But I think that they try to video games really try to make it as entertaining as possible from beginning to end. So that you always have something to do in the process, right? For example, the biggest con that I have for real life sports, the biggest one that I hate watching is baseball. I cannot tell you how many times I've watched a baseball game because I haven't. It's one of those I either go to the actual stadium and watch a live sport, with friends, but I don't think I could ever sit through a whole baseball game by myself. I just find it incredibly boring sport. Let's say that it's not fun to play. It's just to watch is it can be very, very, very difficult for me to stay entertained the whole time. With esports though, I mean there's always something happening, right? And
Hmm.
even if there isn't, you have that interactability with the chat and Twitch to make those lesser intense or lesser action packed events at least a little bit more bearable or to distract you from having okay, this is gonna take about 10 minutes to do and they have to do this, whatever, right? What have you. But I mean, also the biggest thing being that the fans can really tune in from anywhere around the world on their phones, tablets, computers, even like what's it called, your consoles. You can stream it anywhere, and it really is like, hey, this is like entertaining. And I'll quickly give you. There's a reason why I put this is Rocket League here because it goes to show one of my favorite clips that I can remember from esports. I don't know if I want to turn your volume up or not, but I'll quickly show the video really fast. But it is the RLCS Game 7, 10 seconds left. And it is nuts. I'll play it right now. Bill right there. Turbo pulls the scores in the last 4 seconds of the game. It is absolutely nasty. And they're winning the game at the moment, right? So it's 4 seconds left. So Energy needs to score in the last 4 seconds of the game to tie up Game 7. And here comes the big push. 0 seconds left. One aerial, the opportunity. Lucky bounce in the corner. And then you get the famous, "This is Rocket League!" Oh my. Absolute unit of a goal. Just, I cannot imagine. Oh man. Did you get the This is Rocket League yet? Yeah,
Yeah.
right? So that's the famous "This is Rocket League!" Absolute beauty of a goal and things the moments like that happen very often in a game of Rocket League, especially a finals game or whatever. There is no there is no chance that you cannot score. Every chance has a opportunity to make a comeback or those but those last second goals where you're at the edge of your seat, like gripping the fucking table, you're like inching towards the screen almost as if you're going to be inside of the fucking event. Those moments, I mean, they're priceless. And I don't think you can really get those moments that often in the game like basketball and soccer, right? You really don't get that. You might get it at the very end of the game, right? Which in this case, yes, it's at the end of the game, but these games are like 5 minutes each, right? So you're having a bunch of these moments happening very, very often, right? It is just addicting, right? You're always seeing something new. You're always seeing people do something creative. And when it comes to these last second clutch moments, people just all of a sudden bring out random stuff like when Squishy first introduced the ceiling shot in Rocket League. Oh my goodness, that was like mind blowing. Everybody heard of that shot. Everybody knew that it existed in practice, but nobody has ever successfully done a ceiling shot in a tournament until Squishy just pulled it out of his ass. And I was like, yep. And then he posted a video after that saying, "This is my most important goal of my career." And I believe it was to this extent. It changed the entire way that people can score goals. Because at the time, that wasn't really a thing. Nobody knew what the heck a ceiling shot was. He just pulled it off and absolutely deked everybody. Big bonus. Big entertainment value here. And I'm starting to slowly see industries and companies are saying, hey, these gamers, these consoles are expensive. So they need to have money. and we have money. Gamers do have money. Don't think that we're just some losers that don't have any money. We got money to spend. And if we don't got money, our parents got money.
Mom, I need the 4 digits on the back of your credit card.
I need your social security for these V-Bucks. I need it.
Free V-Bucks, Mom.
I just need your credit card number. That's it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, people are understanding that we're not just the low end of fans. I mean, we have been playing games for years, and we understand more than anything the gaming industry than probably any other people that play sports recreationally. Because it's so easy to just grab a video game and play rather than like, oh, I have to go get a membership at this gym or whatever. I gotta go hoop or I gotta go play soccer in the winter. How are you gonna do that? You have to enter a league or whatever. And here, you just buy the video game, you just play. You just play for hours and hours and hours, and there's nothing stopping you from playing the whole day. But in any event, very entertaining. I love esports. Amazing. And like I was saying, these sponsors are like Mr. Krabs. Money, 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 right? They love views, they love everything, and they want to get money. So, take for example, 2020, no, 2000, what's 2000, I can't remember what year it was, but I think it was 2019, the Fortnite Olympics, or the Fortnite World Cup, as I should say. You still there, Nick?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Gotcha. And, oh shoot. For example, prize pool of Fortnite, $15 million, right? The winner, skip ahead. The winner got a lot of money. I think the winner got $3 million, which is a 16-year-old kid. Literally went from nothing to a millionaire, right? And you're saying, man, that's a lot of money. Yes, but that isn't even the craziest amount, right? Take the Dota 2 2021 World Cup. The prize pool was $40 million. That's the biggest ever tournament. Always, Dota has always been the biggest tournament with the biggest prize monies. And $40 million for one tournament, that is huge. Absolutely amazing. And it's just going to keep going up and up and up. I mean, it really has created its own industry where you have team owners, event organizers, commentators, analysts, just very similar to what we now have in real sports. And it really has progressed the growth of it. And we're seeing new job opportunities come up, like game developers, graphic designers, social media managers that will go into all these teams like FaZe, TSM, Optic, 100 Thieves, Liquid, Cloud9. I mean, a bunch of these teams that have grown, right? Fun fact though, 90% of these do not make any money. The only two companies that I know that make money are TSM and 100 Thieves. All the other gaming companies, they lose money, surprisingly. So that's also why it's kind of hard to get into the industry because nobody makes money, but it's still growing. And I believe that if you find the right owners and the right people, it will grow right to what we want it to be. And I have a firm belief, right, that it'll be bigger than the Olympics. I think we are not that far off for it being introduced in it. I believe that there is no doubt in my mind that we will see it and it will be bigger. They will have a bigger fan base. It will transition to it. Not to say that the Olympics is never going to be a thing, but we are definitely going to see higher viewerships for an esports Olympics than any other Olympics in the entire world, in my opinion. And I mean, whether you're a diehard fan or just getting into esports, there's always something for everyone to enjoy. Right? And with new games and tournaments popping up all the time, the future of esports really just looks brighter than ever. And I am very much excited to be part of it. But, Nick, you have any closing remarks for that?
I like video games.
There we go. I mean, we're gonna see this, and I am excited to be part of it. I love esports. I love gaming. So I cannot wait for the future, and I cannot wait until my words are true that esports will be bigger than the Olympics. But to that day, I want to enjoy it. But for now, that's all the time we got for today's podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to join us next time as we explore more of the exciting world of video games. Thank you, Nick, for joining me once again. Until then.